Do not move to Utah unless you can handle these 10 things. Now, we're going to be real and raw about these 10 things because the worst...
Really raw.
Yeah.
And really real.
Because the worst thing that could happen is you could come on out here to beautiful Utah and realize, you know what? I made a mistake. This is not the state for me. Because that mistake could cost you a lot of time, money, pain, anguish, and despair. So let's get started.
So Courtney, you really start off on a jovial foot here.
Upswing, up,
yes.
Dub, yeah. So don't move to Utah unless you can take either extreme winters or extreme summers, depending on where you are in the state. Obviously, most people know about northern Utah, they know about the Salt Lake City area, and you've got to deal with some pretty extreme winters if you're going to be living there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously that's kind of like the state offers, again, it's kind of like the tale of two states, really. Like, on the northern half of the state, you get these like pretty harsh winters. Like,
yeah,
they're pretty solid. And obviously, depending on where you are within the Salt Lake City area, when you think of northern Utah, you really think of the Salt Lake City area. And so obviously the mountains are absolutely beautiful, world-class mountain, like world-class ski resorts and all that stuff. But again, it is cold. And again, in southern Utah where we are, we get a lot of people that actually move down here because they're like, I'm done shoveling snow. I'm done with dealing with the frozen pipes. I'm just done with it. So, and of course, on the southern side, you're obviously dealing with summers where you're getting above 110, like pretty regularly in the summers.
July.
Yeah, July and August, you get a bit of that.
Yeah, but you see the light at the end of the tunnel in August.
That's true. Yeah, July, if you can leave the state in July or leave southern Utah in July, it's not the worst thing in the world.
No, it's not. A lot of people actually do leave in July.
Because, it's hot. There's no other way to put it. But again, your winter, like the 9-10 other months are fantastic. It's just that, hey, I don't know what to tell you. It gets hot.
Yeah. Now, number 2 on this list, do not move to Utah unless you love winter sports. Because obviously, we're in southern Utah, but the majority of people live in northern Utah, right? So the majority of people are dealing with the extreme winters. And a lot of people really love the winter sports. Like, that's a reason why they're there, right?
It's like as if we hosted the games, the Salt Lake City games or something like that. So, so basically, we are very well known for having fantastic resorts and fantastic venues, and fantastic, again, ski runs. I mean, it's just, again, we have the champagne snow, as they call it, that dry snow, powdery snow, awesome snow. And if you like skiing and snowboarding and stuff, I mean, you can't find a better place. Yeah,
but if you don't like that, like if your idea of fun is, I don't know, like not being outside, like not enjoying, that winter wonderland, I don't know, it might not be for you.
Or you can go to southern Utah for that.
Or you can go to southern Utah, so that's true.
So before we continue, let's introduce ourselves. I'm Sean Azad.
And I'm Courtney Dazad, and we are licensed real estate agents here in the state of Utah.
And if you're watching this channel, you might be thinking, wow, Sean, I love Utah. I just love the outdoor activities. I love year-round sports. I love everything about it. I can't wait to move out here now. The problem is I may be out of state, so what do I do? And I totally get that. That's why you can reach out to us, because we have a team that has over 40 years of experience in Utah itself, and we can totally give you all the information you need. We do virtual tours. We can really give you a good sense of what's going on here with not only the property, but also the neighborhood. So when you come out here, it's really efficient. So what you want to do is you want to give us a call or shoot us a text.
Yes, that number is a cell phone, so you can call us or text us. And number 3 on this list, do not move to Utah unless you can handle a really dry climate. And this is throughout the entire state, whether you're in southern Utah or northern Utah. Like the air is dry. You feel it on your skin. We sleep with a humidifier. A lot of other people do too.
It's dry. I mean, if you're not like the good news is if you have a wet towel, that thing will turn bone dry in 30 minutes. Like it's pretty crazy.
That is true. Like my hair dries in the morning within 30 minutes. Like it's crazy.
It's very, very dry here. And so you got got the moisturizer going, sunscreen going, just, like the humidifier, like you're saying, just anything to add moisture because it is being taken out. And when you have air conditioning running as well, that tends to also dehumidify.
Well, and then the heater, right, in the winter.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where, again, it's dry. I mean, again, the good part of that is that at least when you're dealing with these temperature swings, what it feels like is comparable to what it is. As opposed to when you're dealing with, let's say, Florida, where the humidity, it's like the temperature is 85, but it feels like it's a 125 because the humidity, you're in an aquarium basically. It's so humid there. So that's one of the things that we actually get as far as a benefit is that at least it's the dry heat if you're in southern Utah, or at least in winter it's not.
And also in northern Utah, it's not that like the summers are cool there,
Yeah.
right? They get hot summers.
Yeah.
It's way cooler than here, but it's very dry there as well. So you do have a dry heat as well there. Number 4 on this list, do not move to Utah unless you can handle expensive housing. So Utah, definitely the cost of living in Utah is pretty average in terms of cost of living, except for the housing. The housing is probably, I would say, like 50% more than like the median average for the United States.
Yeah, I would say so. Yeah, it's and obviously depending on where you are in Utah. Obviously, if you're in Park City, it can be a little above 50%.
Way above.
More like 500%. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, so depending on where you are.
Yeah.
I mean, but yeah, in general, as a state, it is certainly higher than your median price point. But again, like as we've kind of talked about in the past, the value that you get, again, we don't look at Utah as a median type of life experience here, like
that's
or
true.
median type of desirability. It is way, way above. So when you kind of consider like how great it is here, it's actually, in my opinion, a bargain.
Yeah, so actually our business partner, Sue, the way she describes it, and this is a great way to describe it, she says, Utah is the cheapest nice place that you can live. That is a great way
to put
describe
it, yes.
Yeah.
Because you think about the nice places around the country or the world to live in, they come at a cost.
Yeah.
And Utah is surprisingly reasonably priced for
Yeah.
for what you get.
Yeah. Now, number 5 on this list, this really pertains to southern Utah, and that is don't move here if you are expecting a really, really diverse economy. So Utah itself, the whole state, is known for having a spectacular economy, great job opportunities, very, very business friendly, but that is definitely centered in the Salt Lake City area.
Yeah.
Definitely here you have, less job opportunities, I would say. It's not to say that, it's just as business friendly here as it is in northern Utah. It's just that you don't really have like the amount of jobs and the diversity of jobs.
Well, and you shouldn't have the amount of people to support.
That's
so
true.
like the thing is that over 90% of the population basically is in northern Utah.
Yeah.
And so so what you're dealing with here is that you're obviously dealing with, like, let's say that we're talking about southern Utah, about 200,000 people, give or take, in Washington County, which is southwestern corner. And the thing is that when you have 200,000 people, it's like, well, how many jobs, like especially diverse jobs as far as like all different industries accounted for.
Or tech, northern Utah is really known for tech.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So what we've kind of found is that with this influx of like with the new reality of this remote working or hybrid working and all this other stuff, that people can enjoy the amazing scenery and setting of southern Utah without having to be physically in a cubicle wherever their job is.
Mm-hmm. So number 6 on this list, do not move to Utah unless you can handle restrictive alcohol laws. So
yeah. And then this is statewide. I mean,
yes.
It's better than it was before. Like as we allude to the Salt Lake City Games, that really loosened things up where, again, it's not as bad as before. Mm-hmm. But again, being real, it does have, more restrictive laws. You can't, again, your grocery stores, you can sell, pretty much up to beer level as far as
4% and below.
Yeah. So as far as the alcohol content is 4% and below. So that's beer basically, right? So
and wine coolers.
Yeah, and wine coolers, but not wine.
Not wine.
So you can't get wine. You can't get hard liquor
at the grocery store.
You have to go to these state liquor stores where basically, again, they're not as cheap and all this other stuff. So you got to work, and obviously they have different. They have hours that are probably not the best, most conducive to drinking.
Well, and also they're closed on Sundays and they're closed on holidays as well. The state liquor stores.
Yeah, and so you're not going to Costco and getting your beer and all that stuff. You can get beer, but you can't get your wine and other harder alcohols.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things you have to be aware of. So you just have to plan a little bit more accordingly. You do have obviously bars, and you do have breweries and that kind of stuff that do actually, several of them do serve, they have a full bar and everything like that, as far as these restaurants and breweries and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just kind of what it is.
Yeah, even here in little southern Utah, we have breweries, we have bars, and the breweries do sell spirits and wines and that kind of stuff. But
and some restaurants do have full bars and
yes.
stuff like that. And there's and there's some bars standalone too.
Yeah.
It's just that obviously it's not as prevalent as when you go to other parts of the country where every restaurant has a full bar basically.
Yeah, for sure. Number 7, do not move out here unless you can handle the inversion event that happens in northern Utah in the winter. So basically what happens is because of it's sitting in a valley, and then because of, I don't know, I'm not a meteorologist, but because of the air pressure.
I think you're doing a great job of it though.
Yeah. Because of the air pressure, basically all of the pollution that's in there from cars and all that stuff, it gets trapped. So it gets there. The air quality in the Salt Lake City area is actually quite bad in the winter until like a storm comes through and pushes it away, and then of course it builds back up again. So that's something that a lot of people actually complain about.
Yeah, and again, in southern Utah, we don't have this issue, but again, it's just something that, again, given that over 90% of the population is in that vicinity, that's what you have to deal with.
Yeah, so if you actually look at U.S. News and World Report, so U.S. News and World Report ranked Utah as the best state to live in the United States, and Utah in every category was like really high, like top 10 or above, except for natural environment. And you'd think like, that doesn't make sense. Like Utah is so beautiful, but what they were talking about was pollution, and it's specifically because of the inversion. Yeah,
it's interesting because you'd think that, again, it sounds counterintuitive because it's high up and you wouldn't think that you'd have this issue, but
yeah. Number 8 on this list, do not move out here unless you like the outdoors, right? Because, I would say the entertainment, a lot of the ways that people entertain themselves, whether you're in northern Utah or southern Utah, is by being outside and doing fun stuff outside. If you don't like to do that, I mean, you're going to be like missing a lot of like maybe the entertainment things that you like to do.
Yeah, it does seem like that, again, you just have so much like, this beautiful natural playground, and to not take advantage of it, whether, again, this is across the entire state.
Yeah.
Like, to not take advantage of it would just be such a shame because it's just so beautiful. And again, just reminds me of when I was a kid, like, all, with my family, it's like, if let's say we had a holiday, we would just be playing, like, outside all the time, and that's just be what we would do. And so moving to Utah, that was a very similar field. Like, okay, what do? We go outside, we go on hikes, we go, we go bike riding, we go running, we do all this stuff to appreciate the outdoors. Because again, you don't find many places like this in the world.
Yeah, a friend of mine described it. So she's from northern Utah, and like her brother lives up there, and she says her brother's like, in this family, we learn how to ski really well, but we will never go to Disneyland. Like, that's kind of just like how it is, right? Like, people love the outdoors here, and they spend a lot of their time outside.
Yeah.
Number 9. Do not move out here to Utah unless you can handle lazy Sundays. So
yeah, I mean, and this is kind of across the state now. Obviously, northern Utah is, I'm sure, better about this than southern Utah. It's just that people take their Sundays very casually. Yeah. They have other priorities, and a lot of stores are closed. I mean, not the big box stores, not the national chains, but a lot of, like actually a decent amount of restaurants, like especially like the local variety, they're closed. I mean, so it's just kind of like just being aware of it. Now, like, for us, it's actually great because if I want to go to Costco, Sunday morning is actually a pretty good time to go because it's not nearly as busy or whatever.
Yeah. And then obviously that relates to the elephant in the room, what everybody always asks, and this is something you can check for yourself, right? It's census data. It's very well known. You can check on any newspaper, and that is in Utah. Obviously, it has a very large population of the Church of Latter-day Saints. So people want to know, like, what is it like if you live there and you're not part of that church? And for us, like, I feel like it's like a non-issue. Like, it honestly has not even come up. Like, I have friends who are part of the church, friends who aren't, like, nobody cares. Like,
yeah, and again, it's anecdotal, of course, but I mean, at least our experience has been, just very chill. I mean, I guess that's the best way I could put it. It's chill.
Yeah, like, I would just say, like, the overall culture of Utah, like, I kind of describe it as, like, conservative Canadians. Like, people are just nice here, and they kind of just, like, mind their own business, and they are like, we don't care what you do as long as you're not, like, impinging on our rights. So
libertarians.
Yeah, I would say, like, people are just like, live and let live, and they don't really care. So number 10 on this list, last on the list, don't move to Utah unless you can handle, conservative politics. Obviously, again, this is like,
yeah, and we're not saying you can't be, you have to be a conservative.
Yeah,
we're just saying that the state has a reputation. If you look at any election data, it's a pretty red state.
Yeah.
So, you don't certainly have to be conservative to be here by any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah.
It's just that be aware that, majority of the population is conservative.
Yeah.
But I'd say it's pretty, again, like kind of the whole chill vibe.
Yeah.
Again, we have not felt that, if someone, we know people that are liberal here as well as conservative.
Yeah.
It seems like everyone seems to get along fine.
Yeah.
It's just like people kind of, again, respect each other's situation and minds their business. So,
yeah.
Again, I haven't found it, but some people, if you're really feeling strongly one way or the other, just be aware that, again, this state leans right. That's just what it is.
Yeah, like even the fact that we're from California, which obviously has a very bad reputation for a lot of people around the United States. Like, we thought, everyone's going to hate us.
They're going to judge us or something.
They're going to judge us. They're going to hate us because we're from California. And, Californians get a bad rap because, they sell their homes in California, come out and, like, boost up the real estate prices. But we've honestly just, like...
Everyone's been cool.
Everyone's been nice. Like, anytime someone asks like, where are you from? And I say where I'm from, they're like, oh, you know, my family's still out there, or I know someone out there, or like we love visiting out there. So it's,
yeah, it doesn't. I mean, everyone seems pretty respectful, pretty nice, and again, as long as you come out here feeling the same, like, you know, being respectful of whatever people's viewpoints are, I don't think you'll have too many issues.
Yeah, I mean, I think it is like Canadians. Like, people are just nice and they're like respectful. Like, they don't care.
And remember, we are licensed realtors here in the state of Utah. So as much as we love making these videos, what we love more is to help you with your real estate needs. So whether you're looking to buy or sell a home, what you would do is to give us a call or shoot us a text.
Yes, that number is a cell phone, so you can call us or text us. And remember, the team that we work with here in Utah has over 40 years of experience, so don't forget to call us or text us.